Hey, it's Patty, and I wanted to show you how to make this really pretty Christmas card. This is from the new catalog, the holiday catalog that will be coming out. It's out now, actually. You can start ordering September 1st. So let me know if you want a catalog and I'll get it out to you. It says Peace on Earth, and it's got these cutout trees, and it's got a cutout background, and on the inside, wishing you the joy of family and happiness of friends and the love of Christmas. That's from a different set, which I'll show you. So this is the bundle that you can get. It's Carols of Christmas, and it has two big kind of cover um, sentiments that you can use, and it really takes up a lot of space. And then there's a deer, and there's ornaments and things like that. And then the card front builder goes along with it. So it has pieces like this that you can actually kind of use as a frame, and you can do it both sides and frame your whole card. There's some ornaments in the trees that I cut out. And then this is poinsettias, and you can also kind of frame. Um, you can make it bigger or smaller, and you can do the bottoms. So that's what the builder comes from, and we're going to use this piece, and this is what I used to cut out of the Night of Navy to get the moon and the stars behind it. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is cut out the top, and then we're going to stamp this with Versamark and then the white embossing powder, and we'll heat emboss it. And then I have the trees. I already have them cut out, and I really played with the colors of the trees. I liked having some variations. So this is Always Artichoke, Garden Green, and Old Olive. And I just kind of cut some variations of the trees and place them around. If you had different colors, you could do two colors, you could do one color. You could put a deer in the middle of it. There's the cutout for the little deer. So there's a lot you can do with this. So let's go ahead and get started. My cardstock that I'm using is Night of Navy, Whisper White, and Garden Green. And I'm doing a very thin layer. So the Night of Navy is 4 by 5 1/4, and then the Whisper White is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it's very kind of small border, and then it goes on the normal 5.5 by it's a 5.5 by 4 1/4. So it's a half a piece of cardstock, just scored at 4 1/4. So the first thing I'm going to do is work on the Night of Navy piece. So let me just get everything out of the way. And we're going to first do the embossing. Oh, not the embossing, sorry, the big shot. We're going to cut it with the die. So I have my precision plate down first on top of the platform because this is more intricate. And then I'm just going to lay this down, and I'm going to put it very, very close to the top. And it pretty much is a border right at the top of it. So let me put my cutting plate on top, and then I'll just run it through. I already did cut out the trees as I showed you, so that you didn't have to see me go through all this cutting. So I'm going to roll it back and roll it back again. So let me take this off and get rid of the big shot. And I grabbed some of my trees with it by accident. Okay, so we have this, and I'm just going to kind of punch it out with my poker tool and get some of these little stars out and things like that, and then try to get it separated from the paper. So it's hard to tell which are the parts that push it out and which are the actual cutouts, but you'll figure it out. So keep punching out some of these. Just a little patience with it. See, some of these are just to like poke it through, and some actually go out. So there we go. Let me just finish poking these out. And I really like this with the white background behind it. It really kind of jumps out at you. So we have that done. So the next thing I'm going to do is using my Bossing Buddy, or I'm sorry, Embossing Buddy, and I'm just going to wipe this down, and this just keeps the embossing powder from jumping all over, and it is because it's dark cardstock, it does make it a little bit white, so I just wanted to wipe that off. Then I'm going to get my Peace on Earth stamp, and I'm just going to use the Versamark, get that nice and inked up, and I'll place that down on the cardstock. And I'm going to kind of put it up here so I have plenty of room for my trees. Just kind of press that down. And you'll see it leaves kind of a watermark. And I see I left one little dot there. Let me get rid of that. The other thing I'm going to do is these little kind of snowflakey things that I'm going to just place around. I'm going to also emboss them with the white, and I'm just going to kind of put them around the sides randomly. There we go. And the next thing, let me just put my top on, and I will put my white embossing powder on it. I just keep that in this little container with a spoon, and I'll just spoon it over and make sure it gets covered good. If you don't use the Embossing Buddy before, you'll end up getting powder places that you don't want it. It just keeps it from sticking. And if you have any areas, you could just take a paintbrush and get rid of anything that you don't want, because once you put the heat on it, it will melt in the embossing powder, and if you don't want it somewhere, you might want to just brush it off. So let me just get this little star there. So I think that looks good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat emboss this, and I'm going to stop the video, and then I will come back when it's done so that you don't have to hear it. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I heat embossed it. I used my embossing heat gun, and I just went over it with the heat, and it melted the embossing powder wherever I had the Versamark. So you just want to make sure you kind of tilt it around. It looks like it's all shiny, so you didn't miss a spot. So the next thing we're going to do is put the trees down, and let me just put this out as a guide. And I kind of had the trees going off the page, and then I cut them. So I kind of placed them, see where I wanted them, do them a little bit different heights, and just kind of play around with it, see what looks good to you. So I'm going to pretty much copy what I did over there, and then I'll just glue them down. So I use the multi-purpose liquid glue, and I just kind of placed them and then glued them down one at a time. And again, I'm going to have the bottoms, I'm going to cut them off. I didn't want the bottoms to be above the blue. I don't know why, but let's see how that looks. And with the multi-purpose glue, you do have a minute to, or a few seconds, I should say, to move things around. So that looks good. Let me put some down here. And again, you can really use any of the greens. I like this combination. I love Old Olive. That's one of my favorite colors. And I think it just really makes good nature type things. So I'll leave that there. And then I think I put this with one behind it. So I kind of put that down. So you just play around with it until you see what you like. So let me see how that will look. That looks pretty good. Put that one down, and we've got these Old Olives. And I'm just kind of, You don't want to put too much glue because you don't want it to pop out the sides and make a mess. And then one last tree. This is the garden green. And that's what the card base is, so that kind of ties it together. And then the sentiment inside I also did with garden green. So I'm going to put that up here. And the card is a little warped from heating. You can heat it from the back to help straighten it out. I'm just going to glue it down with the liquid glue to make sure that it adheres all around the stars and everything. So this looks good. I'm going to just cut the, where are my scissors? The bottoms off. 1 second. I think they're under the pile of stuff here, so I'm just going to cut these bottoms off to make it straight across. And cut from the back just so you can see it good. And there is a little bit blue behind it, but that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. So now we're going to glue this down to the white, and let me just show you how it pops. Once you put it down on the white, you can really see those stars and the moon and everything. So I thought that was pretty. So again, I'm going to glue it down. Just put glue all around. And this glue is very, very good, very strong. So if you wanted to do a project that, you know, you needed a strong adhesive for, this is one of them to go to. This and Fast Fuse. So I'm just going to try to get in the corners. See, this would be hard if you were using the snail to get all around those little areas. So let's put this down. Let me just get a little bit up here. And I don't want it oozing out, so I'm trying to go very lightly. Okay, so let's put this down on the white and try to get it centered. I don't think I did such a good job centering it on the other card, but I think that looks good. And then I will just put this down with glue. You could use snail or whatever you wanted over here, but since I have this out, I might as well use it. We'll put this on the card base, the garden green. So I think this is a card that you could probably make a lot of pretty easily. You know, if you spent one day or, you know, some time cutting out all the trees, and you can cut out the single and the double in one run of, you know, of the same color, and then run it through with a different color. So you could do that, and then you could run all your Night of Navy through to get this top, and then do your embossing. So I think you could, you know, mass produce this. So now we're going to do the inside, and I have a piece. Oops, let me just cut this down. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back again. So I have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to put this in the inside. And the sentiment, so there's no real inside sentiments on this. This really kind of builds the outside of your card. So there's another one called Every Good Wish, and I'm going to use this one here. And I am stamping this in garden green. Let me just put this on for now. So I have garden green, and I already have it mounted. And I'm just going to place this kind of in the center toward the top. And that looks good. Nice green color for Christmas. And since I have my liquid glue out, we'll just go ahead and continue with the liquid glue. So let me just put this on the back. Just a light coat is all you need. And we'll open this up and line it up. Okay, so we are done. So these are the two cards. I think it's really pretty. I love the white embossing, and I love these trees. I think they're really cute. So anyway, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and I will be back with another one in the next day or two. You have a good day. Thanks. Bye.